Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys how you can easily earn around $450,000 per hour and give you some tips that'll pretty much guarantee you'll never lose another special vehicle circuit race ever again. So I don't know if you guys were aware about this, but yesterday when Rockstar updated their newswire, they actually put double money and RP on all 20 new special vehicle race tracks, and it's going on now through Wednesday, March 22nd. So basically, when this video goes up, you've got a week to take advantage of this awesome opportunity, which is really cool. Now, a lot of people sent me messages on Twitter saying how much money they made. We're going to take a look at some of those examples right now. This first one comes from a user Finish, and they won $60,000 for coming in first, obviously, and their time was 6 minutes and 36 seconds. Now, obviously, I know the race didn't end as soon as they finished, but I'm just going to say that it ended around 8 minutes, somewhere along that. And if we do her earnings, which is 60,000, or a little roughly over that, and then take 60 divided by 8 minutes, which is about how many races they'd be able to do in an hour, that total is $451,000. And that's just one example right there. We've also got a bunch of other examples. This one comes from Horvath. He tweeted this at me, winning $53,000 in just about 8 or 9 minutes of racing, so certainly not bad at all. And then Brandon tweeted this at me. He's the guy in first place. He won $70,000, and I can't see how long he was in the race, but nonetheless, he still did a pretty awesome job. Now, I also have my friend Ty, who was with me on the first live stream I did yesterday, and if you guys don't believe me, you can check out that footage. He won probably every race, and the races he wasn't winning, he was coming in second or third. He ended up with about $400,000 at the end of that, and I think it was only 16 races that took us about an hour and 15 minutes, so even he made a ton of money there, which is so cool. So bottom line, right now, you can make a ton of cash with these new special vehicle races. However, as you probably saw, the people that were getting that amount of money were coming in first place. Now, there's also another part of that that contributes to their earnings. That's the amount of time they spent in the race. For that, I would just say, make sure you're playing the races that are lapped and not necessarily the ones that are point-to-point. I think point-to-point races are fun, but I don't think they last long enough. So you want to try and do the lapped ones. 2 to 3 laps is probably your sweet spot. Anywhere from around 6 to 8 minutes, as you saw from some of those examples, is probably the best bet. However, I can give you some tips and tricks on coming in first. So we're going to go by each individual race: Rocket Voltic ones, Ruiner 2000 ones, and Blazer Aqua ones. Now, one thing I want to say before I start going into the tips here, I am a terrible racer, and the results you guys are going to see in the couple of videos. So before we get into the tips today, I just want to say that I am a terrible racer, like really, really bad. And even though I can give some pretty good tips, that doesn't necessarily mean I utilize them perfectly in game. And a lot of the examples you're going to see, I mess myself up in these races more than anything. You'll see some of the comical mistakes that I end up making here. But regardless, I just wanted to let you guys know that I don't claim to be an expert racer, nor have I ever been. But I do have some pretty good tips. And like I said, I really want to share them with you guys today. All right, so let's start with the Ruiner 2000 races, and by far the biggest mistake I see with the Ruiner 2000 races is people using their parachutes prematurely. So believe it or not, you don't need to use your parachute as soon as you see yourself like flying towards a jump that you won't be able to reach. What you need to do is use your parachute at the last possible moment. Now, this will take a little bit of practice and some repetition on the tracks themselves, but using it at the last possible moment will ensure that you aren't stuck up in the air gliding and instead falling to the destination. What you can also do, since you have unlimited parachutes, is use the parachute, drop it, use the parachute, and then drop it again. What this will do will kind of stutter you down instead of gliding you down, and will actually make you get towards the target a whole lot faster. That's probably the biggest mistake I see people make, is using the parachute too early and then kind of just gliding to where they need to go. Another tip, once you are using the parachute, be sure to angle the nose of the Ruiner 2000 down. If you angle it down, it's going to give you a little bit faster travel time towards the destination you're going for. So those are some pretty good tips with the parachute right there. Let's move on to the jumping ability. So you obviously use the jumping ability to get yourself over targets. However, you can use the jumping ability in other locations. The first one is right before you go off a ramp. If you use the jump right before you go off a ramp, it's going to send you launching towards your target, which will get you there much farther than your other opponents are going to land. So use the jump for extra distance. And also, you can use the jump to avoid other players. This happened in the first race I was using today. Use it to get over obstacles. There's a lot of times with the Ruiner 2000 where people get stuck on each other, they start bumping each other. Jump out of the way. Don't sit behind them and wait for them to wreck you. Instead, jump over them and leave them in the dust. Now, some other miscellaneous tips I can give about the Ruiner 2000. You just need to remember that it's a muscle car. A lot of people go into these races assuming they're driving a sports or a supercar. So be careful going around the corners. Even though it does have really good top speed, its turning and braking ability is not the best. You'd be amazed how many people will go around the corner just full speed thinking they can just brake and turn in an instant, and then they're going flying over the guardrail and they've got to respawn and their race is pretty much over. So those are pretty much all my tips for the Ruiner 2000 races. Utilize the parachute as little as you can. Use the jump for more than just the obstacles that Rockstar put in front of you. And remember, you're not using a supercar. All right, let's move on to the rocket Voltic. The first tip I can give you is survive the start. So for whatever reason, Rockstar thought it was a great idea to give us full boosting power right at the start. And as you can see with a race like this, it typically does not end well, with people crashing into each other, their boost sending other players flying. So really, if you can just survive the start, you should be in pretty good shape. However, you do need to also use the boost strategically. So what I mean by that is a couple things. Number one, use it as frequently as often as you can. This seems obvious, but with all the distractions, the pretty colorful light tubes, a lot of people forget to use the boost. So use it as often as you can when applicable. You obviously don't want to use it going around turns and sharp corners, etc., because that'll obviously send you flying off the track, and you don't want that. However, more importantly, you want to use your boost while you're in mid-flight to get you to the ground quicker. So what I mean by this is when you go off a ramp, use your boost to, instead of go up, go down and get you to the ground faster, where your number one will be able to gain more speed since you're not in the air, but also number two, you're going to be able to recharge your boost faster to use it again. I did this many times in the race that I'm doing right now, and it is such a convenient and easy trick to do to get ahead of a lot of the players in front of you. And tip number three regarding the rocket Voltic, don't tailgate people. So the way the thruster function works on the rocket Voltic, if you're directly behind someone and they shoot off their thruster, it's going to send you spiraling away. I have unfortunately had that happen to me many times, and now I've got to be careful to not tailgate someone when I'm trying to get their slipstream or trying to overtake them. So keep those three things in mind. Again, you are using a supercar here, so you want to be careful doing various things like going around turns too sharply, using your rocket booster going around a turn, and the tips I just gave you should be a pretty helpful guide as well. Now, let's move on to the final set of races that is going to involve the Blazer Aqua. So I've got a couple things for this. Number one, when you're in water mode, you want to lean back. So when it's in the water mode where the wheels are up, it functions just like a boat. So leaning back is going to give you a little bit more speed. However, when you're on land, what you want to do is lean forward. Now, this can be a little bit awkward to hold forward and try and steer. So if you can't, it's not that big of a deal. Just try and take advantage of the slipstream opportunities whenever you can. So lean back in the water. Try to lean forward if you can when you're on the land. Probably the most important tip I can give you is the transition phase. So when you click in left on the thumbstick, it brings you from land mode to water mode. And this takes about 3/4 of a second to fully make that transition. So what you want to do is before you go from land to sea or sea to land, you want to make that transition right before you're about to do it. So for example, if you take a ramp and you go into the water, once you're in the water, you don't want to then click on the thumbstick. You want to click on the thumbstick right about before you're going to leave the ramp or you're going to leave land. That way, when you get into the water, you're already in its aqua mode so that you can travel and go as quickly as you can. And the same thing goes for land. If you're in water and you're going to land, you want to activate the land feature right before you get to land so that you don't like start sputtering out of control when you eventually do hit the ground. And the last two tips I can give you for the Blazer Aqua is with these races, it really seems like you can cut corners pretty sharply, meaning like you don't have to exactly go through the checkpoint in order to get it. So try and take advantage of that. that, and also avoid contact if possible. These little ATVs are super sensitive to spinning out, and one spin out can really send your chances of winning a race going down the drain. And the last couple of tips that I can give you here really apply to all three vehicles, and that's to do just some normal, basic, good racing strategy, getting a good start by getting the bonus booster, using curb boosting technique where you're on the straightaways and might necessarily not be able to slipstream someone. You still get that little bit of an extra speed boost, and when you can slipstream someone, take advantage of it, especially in the Blazer Aqua ones where your slipstream area is a little bit smaller, but also where the tiniest lead can make a huge difference here, especially given how sensitive these little watercrafts are. So like I said, that's really all the information I have for you guys in this video today. Let me know which one of these is your favorite. Which of these races have you been enjoying the most? The one with the Blazer Aqua, the one with the Ruiner 2000, or the one with the Rocket Voltic? I definitely think my favorite is the Rocket Voltic, and then I kind of have some things I don't necessarily love about the Blazer Aqua one and the Ruiner 2000 one, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. That's all the tips and tricks that I'm going to be giving you guys in this video today, and how you can easily win pretty much all these races and earn about $400,000 and $450,000 per hour, which is absolutely insane, at least over the next couple weeks with the double money NRP. But like I said, let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comment section down below. If you did go and enjoy the video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.